Cooler is the baddest boss.
Redheadhender, how can this be? Cooler is my brother and I hate him. How could you value him over me? His badass final form and lust for revenge is so corny and stupid it's like waiting for a builder to move on its own. How dare you say this to my face? How dare you say this to my face?
Yes, that's right. I am the most badass villain in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. Frieza is just a spoiled little brat who apparently all of Japan loves, but everyone else in the universe doesn't. I am the baddest villain to ever come from the universe. Bow before your mighty Lord Cooler.
Yo, what's cracking redheads? This is Jason Henry, the Redhead Henry, and in today's video we will be looking at the baddest boss around, Cooler, and what it is that makes this generic badass evil dude my favorite Dragon Ball villain. Before we begin, if you enjoy Dragon Ball content and fanfiction animations, smash that subscribe button, jingle that bell, and give this video a thumbs up for more Dragon Ball related content. It helps out the channel big time. I value your guys' feedback and opinions, and I would love to engage with you guys down in the comments section below, so ensure you leave a comment with your thoughts on this video. One last thing, if you guys have a Twitter, Discord, or Facebook, ensure you are following me on those sites as well. The links to those are down in the description.
Enough talking. Let's get into the video.
Cooler's Revenge is my second favorite Dragon Ball movie, but it does contain my favorite Dragon Ball villain. Cooler is the older brother to Frieza, and upon hearing that his brother was bested by a Saiyan, he concludes that he must go confront Goku for himself, which is the basic premise of the movie, Cooler wanting to exact revenge for his brother's death. So let's get into what makes Cooler so appealing. Cooler is a badass villain. He isn't pompous or whiny, or explains his justifications for his actions that he takes. He's just very much a generic villain, but I mean that in the best of ways. I don't know if it was the English voice actor in combination with the story, but as a villain he is very much generic, only seeking revenge for the death of his brother and wanting to witness a Super Saiyan. In terms of his flaws, he's obviously very arrogant and assumes that he's the strongest in the universe. But that's pretty much true with mostly all Dragon Ball villains. I think the best character trait about why he's such a badass villain is that he gives off this attitude of just not giving a shit about anything, and it shows. And I think that's what in part makes him so
legendary.
He doesn't give a flying fuck about anything and just takes action. Let me stress that again. He doesn't give a flying fuck about anything and just takes action. Multiple times in this movie we see Cooler take immediate action without having to explain anything, or at least not take any time needed to detract us from the story. The best example of this is when he realizes Goku is too much of a match for him, so he shoots an energy blast at him to distract him as he heads up into the sky and has already summoned a massive supernova attack. This quick thinking and the fact that he just acted without the need to stand around, think, or explain to us or to Goku what he was going to do was great. Now granted, this is a movie and there is only a limited number of minutes for things to go down, and that may be why, but I think that's why this plays into part of why this movie is so good, or at least why Cooler is so good in it. The time constraints of only 40 minutes or so means that events, story, plot, and action is all sped up, so this in effect makes Cooler a badass for a good chunk of the movie. We get a small glimpse into Cooler's past, or at least his relationship with his family. Cooler mentions to Goku something that I never would have expected.
My brother was a pest. I would have killed him myself sooner or later.
Father always spoiled you rotten, you little brat.
Those lines alone should tell you that after witnessing what transpired in the Frieza arc and going into this movie, that Cooler already doesn't really align himself with his brother and finds him to be an ass, which makes Cooler more likable as a villain because he doesn't necessarily align himself with Frieza or in one camp or the other. This gets into one of really two issues I have with this film. Cooler states that he doesn't like or care for Frieza, yet he states multiple times that he's getting revenge on Goku for killing his brother. Maybe it's a love-hate relationship, or maybe Cooler is just getting revenge because it's this tarnishing of the family name that Goku destroyed and not necessarily Frieza himself. Regardless, that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, which brings me to my next point as to why Cooler is so badass. His final form could arguably be one of the best villain designs in Dragon Ball. There have been many designs for villains, But this one is unique. In addition to his now muffled voice, increased muscle and body size, Cooler's power is far beyond Frieza's, which makes him a larger threat to Goku. Cooler's gnarly and badass design, in conjunction with how he is already presented to us in the movie, gives us the full circle we need into understanding why he is such a badass boss, and one of the best villains in Dragon Ball. This last point is more so on the movie and the second issue I had with this film overall. We didn't really get an epic fight between Final Form Cooler and Super Saiyan Goku. Goku merely hits him twice, and maybe that's for the best as Goku is much stronger. But I would have loved to have seen at least another maybe 5 minutes of them fighting, similar to how some of the fight sequences went down on Namek between Goku and Frieza. And that about covers why Cooler is—
Hold on. You didn't talk about my metaphor or my golden form. How dare you?
No, we don't need to talk about those forms, because there's nothing to talk about with them. But since everyone will whine and complain about this anyway, I might as well give you my 2 cents. The next movie that features Cooler wasn't that great, and while Cooler still is kind of a badass, I feel like he lost his appeal as he lost the ability to use his final form. Golden Cooler, on the other hand, I mean, come on, what needs to be said here? He stands around and looks like a badass boss, but as Super has shown us time and again, they just bring back old villains just so that they can give them a shiny new ass-pull form. That said, I do like the design of Golden Cooler, but Heroes is just a promo for the game. But this promo series is sometimes treated by fans as the Bible to their religion. My friends, as always, I love Dragon Ball, and this video concludes my thoughts on my favorite Dragon Ball villain. Do you guys agree or disagree? Let me know down in the comments section below. Stay humble, and I will catch you in the next video.
You're all useless and weak.